Hey, guess what? I got something super special for you today, because today in the Rat Hole, we are live.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Hey, what's up, Internet? Paparazzo Dave Chapman here, and we are live with Alphinius Goo. Thank you for joining me. First off, you asked me why I'm not wearing a hat. It's because you really, really liked
I did
my Jacko Bastard Fez from Fezorama.
Fabulous.
The thing is, as much as I love, this is Christmas time, and I love my Nightmare Before Christmas, this clashes.
Yeah. Still
so
good, though. Still marvelous.
There. That's much better. Put on a Phoenix one.
Looking good, Dave. Looking good. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for having us on your marvelous program. It's wonderful.
Thank you for taking time and joining us. We're going to have some fun today for sure. For those people watching at home, make sure you do chime in. Wherever you're watching, just type it in the comments. We can see those comments. We can bring it up on screen. And if there's something we can address, we can certainly answer questions, comments, whatever it may be. So please say something. Say you're out there. So we're not just screaming to the wind. Just that a little bit.
Plus, they get a chance to win something, right? We're going to give away a little something, yes?
Yes, we've got our Gooey Cube giveaway coming up later on, too. So we've got that. So why don't we start with a little bit about you, sir, and kind of your background in gaming?
Sure. So, Dave, Dave and I met at SaltCon, right? This is where it was, right, Dave? That was our thing, yes? And we threw dice at each other all weekend. It was quite enjoyable, and Dave was marvelous and really fun, and we just took a shine to each other, and since then we've been staying in touch, yes? So I thank you for being a friend and continuing on this path with us together. So I've been gaming. I am old, right? So I look old. You can tell I'm a little old, right? I've been gaming for about 40-some years. Started with war games, actually, in my early teens, and then progressed further into this role-playing thing, which at that time was a white box, and 4 of my crazy friends, and we got together, we started gaming, and the next thing you know, it was like, fortunately, it was summertime, so it was pretty much every day, right? And we went crazy and just loved it, and I learned at that time to start game mastering, and so I've been game mastering now for 40 years, and so it has been quite a run.
Yeah, definitely. So where did Gooey Cube come from?
Well, so I'll try to tell this tale quickly so it doesn't go too long, but about 2 years ago, and you know this story because you and I chatted about it, but about 2 years ago, we have a little advertising agency in Colorado Springs, and this is our day job, right? This is the day job. And we had some creative people there, and I felt like they were younger, and I felt like all they talked about and all they ever did was play computer games. And I no shade now. I'm not throwing shade on computer games. I love them, right? But I believe in imagination, and I believe in the importance of imagination in the creative process, right, of doing things that advertising agencies do, right? And so one day I said to them, why don't you all come to my house, and Mike will be there and some other folks will be there, and why don't you come play Dungeons and Dragons with us, right? And this is how it happened, right? And so we went and played a few times, and the next thing you know, of course, they got the bug, right? They got all hooked. And so the next thing they're saying is, we need to publish your stuff. And I looked at them and I said, you are crazy. We already have a job. We don't need to add another job to it. So anyway, that was the fateful day. That's how it began.
That's great. I love those are the stories, right? It's like it just kind of someone catches that and it's like, nope, I'm in.
Well, we launched, I think I told you this, Dave, we launched at Gen Con in 2019, and we were very trepidatious in going there because, as you have seen with our materials, they're quite different than most of other things that you purchase on the market to try to run games. And we had no idea whether people would like what we were selling or not. And fortunately, we were able to get into Entrepreneurs Row, which I gather is a very difficult thing to do in the first place. And then being on Entrepreneurs Row, I found out later, is a little more difficult because it's sort of at the edge and a lot of people don't go by there and all that stuff. Anyway, the good news is that people really did like it. We nearly sold out there, and then we nearly sold out at Dragon Con. And, you know, we just had about 3 or 4 different, 5 different conventions between then and SaltCon where you and I met, and we did extremely well at all of them. And so this convinced us that we were onto something, you know, so to speak. So that's sort of the genesis of GUI Cube. And it all began with a sort of thinking differently about game mastering and enthralling players and immersive gaming and all this stuff.
That's awesome. It's strange to me that I don't remember you at all from Gen Con, because I spend when I go, and I try and go every year, but I try and spend a lot of time specifically in Entrepreneurs Alley because we love taking, you know, looking at the new stuff, finding those new young, so to speak, entrepreneurs and the new publishers and stuff.
Well, it's marvelous that they do that, Dave, you know, to give these young companies a little opportunity. It's a wonderful thing that Gen Con does.
Yeah. I think why I don't remember you is because I don't, and most of our viewers probably know this, I don't do Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I started on it. I mean, I'm not that much younger than you. Ish, but I mean, I started.
Yes, you are, sir.
Yeah, ish. I cut my teeth on Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, right? AD&D was where I started, so I've been doing it for a fair bit of time. I've played 5th edition, but part of doing this is I'm always working with other companies, other rule sets.
Yes,
and quite frankly, Wizards of the Coast doesn't need my voice. So I've never really bothered. But every now and then I come across a 5e compatible product like yours that I'm like, nope, I want to learn more about this. And watching you at SaltCon is for what, 3 days was it? It was a treat. I'm just standing there going, I can't do my own stuff because I'm just standing here watching you.
Well, Mike and I so enjoyed you and the whole crew that was over there. I mean, you know, when you have that camaraderie, right? But on top of it, you all were just so fun, and it's just we just had a nice little mix there in that corner. You know, it was just really nice. So
exactly.
And I'm glad we bumped into each other, my friend. Yes, I am.
Yes, and who knows I hope we will do that again. I don't know where that's going to be because 2020.
Yes, but we are moving past this. You know, there are vaccines now. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there that give us hope, and I'm going to live in hope. I'm not going to live in despair, because 2020 has been, I almost said a swear word. I was right there. I just stopped. So it is good for me.
Yes, bravo. Good show.
Thank you.
No, I know Emerald City Comic Con is rescheduled for like December.
Yes.
Which is probably smart, at the same time kind of awkward, because that's one that I would drive to, and driving through the mountains 12 hours to get there is not going to be fun. But Gen Con, fingers crossed.
Well, Gen Con, if it happens, we're having a GUI party there. We've already decided upon it. Many of our GUI friends know. Of course, you've been in the den, so you've probably seen about it too. And it's going to be a fun party, and we're going to buy the pizza, and we might even buy a little beer and some other things like that. So we're planning on being there. You know, it is time. We need to get back out and be with humans again. This is hard on all of us, you know. So it is time to dance a little with our friends again.
Yes, Mike owes me a tequila.
Aha, and I would buy one too. Well, in fact, we could have 3 or 4 tequilas all at once, and then you can see what happens when an old fat wizard gets drunk.
Oh my! This is going to end badly. Oh boy. On the upside, I'm not planning to do the foot-long taco south of Indianapolis until after Gen Con, so I should still be safe.
Good.
I think together might not be ideal. Back to where we were, because this is just fun. But tell me a little bit about kind of your personal background and where that has come into how GUI Cube and the Red Star Rising campaign, which is your main product line so far, how that kind of all connects, if you will.
Well, you know, first of all, you have to understand I love tales, right? This is the thing. You know, you heard me talk about this ad nauseum, probably drove you crazy. But I truly believe, for me, and again, there's many different tables. And there's many different ways to game master. And there's many different players that have different kinds of interests, right? You know, some folks want to sit around a table and they really want to roll dice, right? They want to have lots of combats. That's really what makes it fun for them. Other tables, they don't want combats at all. They want to sit around and LARP the whole time. You know, they want to do all this stuff, right? And other tables like mixes of those kinds of things. Some more puzzles and anyway. The point being that, you know, this sort of idea that's out there that this is the pinnacle way to game master, or this is the pinnacle way to game master. I sort of don't disagree. I disagree with that position. Because I think the way to game master is the way that is most fun for you as well as for the people that are at your table. And so for me, the most fun that I am able to have at the table, and what I've found with many players, is to create a really deep, enthralling tale. Very complex, multiple subplots, lots of twists and turns, all weaved around those player characters, giving them opportunity to have agency, but not so much crazy agency that the world is just blown up all the time, right? I use lots of illusion of choice methodologies and all kinds of little tricks and things to sort of keep things rolling down a sort of a path, right? Not sort of really tracky, but sort of a path, but still giving the players room to move. But I have found that as you make these tales, Dave, if you make them really interesting and you have cliffhangers and you have lots of wonderment and mystery, right? They really want to turn the page. They want to see what is coming next. Mm-hmm. And so that was the genesis of the materials and the adventures that we began, right? And that, of course, spun into the world of Xayah-Thay. And the world of Xayah-Thay is a whole nother topic that we probably should touch on as we go through this. Yeah. But that's sort of the whole thing and how it began into sort of creating the box sets and why we approach sort of game mastering a little differently than many do, I think. Yeah,
for sure. Do we just pointing it out because I've got them here. Like I said, you can totally comment on any of those, including Geekorama.net, who is also broadcasting this with us. So by all means, please say something while you're out there.
And you can be really obnoxious too. You know, Dave and me, this is a perfect combo. This is the time to put out all that crap that you really want to do sometimes, right?
It's
insults, jokes. What the heck?
I know some of the people that I know some of our viewers, and that's giving them that freedom is going to be slightly terrifying. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. He's opened the door. Bring it on, people.
Fun, David. Yes?
Yes. So, do you think it would be better to take a look at the Kickstarter video, talk Kickstarter, or talk about the world first? Which one is probably better for you?
Let's talk about the world, because you and I have had many conversations about sort of what, sort of the evolution of role-playing worlds and all that kind of stuff, and sort of the foundations of Xayah-Thay. First of all, it is a very unique thing in that it is a collaborative world. Mm-hmm. And some who might think back to this thing called the RPGA a long time ago, this is sort of inspired by that a little bit. And what it means is that we are literally taking submissions from our many constituencies now. I mean, our Contributors Guild, Dave, I don't know if you know this, our Contributors Guild is I think it's 500 people now. Yeah, and so every month and a half or so, we do a submission round. Yeah. And that could be a monster or a shop in a city or a town or a weird location out there in the wilderness or a magic item and spell combination or something like that. And we take those submissions and if they're accepted, and most are, we give a wonderful reward back to the person who made them, something that is commensurate with the time that they would have spent with the work. And we publish those in the world of Xayah-Thay. And so that was the first sort of foundational element of Xayah-Thay. But there were others as well. We don't have any races that are inherently evil. We actually push the other way. When we come out with our Encyclopedia of the Races, you will see that rather than sort of having this race has a plus on their intelligence, or this race has a minus on their intelligence, or this one has a plus on their wisdom, or this one isn't as dexterous as the others. We're kind of moving away from that, and we're going to actually create sort of these interesting aspects. So perhaps a dwarf might have iron blood or stone skin, or perhaps an elf has winter sense, or something like this, right? And these things, then people can choose from this marvelous little list of sort of racial attributes that are appropriate and interesting in keeping with the type of races that we have. We really have tried hard to be a little progressive in all of our thought processes with this, to make it to make the world inclusive. I think that that most that see what we are putting together will appreciate that. And I think also, because Xayathe is a corrupted world, it is post-apocalyptic, but it is post-apocalyptic magic. I think many will find it very intriguing as well. So that's sort of the foundations of the world. There's so much more, as you know, but we only got to half an hour, and good God, you know, everybody doesn't want to have to hear me ramble for the next 2 hours about the world. You can read it for yourself. Then we can talk about the Kickstarter, and maybe you buy a book. Ha-ha!
Ha-ha! All right, well, let's move on to that then. And I've got the Kickstarter video here. So let's take a quick look at that and talk Kickstarter. Yes, I changed hats.
I see that. Well done, sir. Well done.
This is the matching one. So this is their chapeau style, they call it. It's the back half of a Fez, the front half of a Glengarry.
Very cool.
I thought you'd appreciate it, so I'm like, pull that out.
Well, it takes my eyes away from the camera because I keep looking at you, right? So I'm supposed to be looking here, and I keep looking at your marvelous hats.
What can I say? Look at this face.
Beautiful, beautiful.
No, but
so the Kickstarter has gone very well, you know, as you've seen, you know, and this is much first and foremost because we have such a wonderful community, and they came out and supported us. You know, David is as many have experienced. This has been such a difficult year, you know, and we are thankful that our day job did not just totally go, you know, roll over, right? Our day job, fortunately for us, we had a mix of clients that didn't put us in a position where some, you know, were in just terrible situations, right? Yeah. And we battled hard. We didn't have to lay off anybody. And we really tried to keep Gooey Cube alive as well. But we went backwards quite a bit because, you know, our only venue for selling was at conventions, right? That was what we were doing, right? And so we started talking. Our community actually was pushing us. They started saying, you know, why don't you do a Kickstarter? And we kept looking at it, and we kept thinking about it. And then we finally sort of pulled the trigger, and we put into the Kickstarter all of our existing materials. So that's the first 3 chapters of the of the Red Star Rising campaign. So that is the Darkest Dream, the Foulest of Spirits, and the Coldest of Blood. And with those 3 modules, those 3 boxes, you'll probably get somewhere around 110, maybe 120 hours in playtime. I'd probably get a little bit more. You probably would too, Dave, because we had our spice, right? We had our extra stuffs.
Right.
And I really believe that it will be some of the most interesting play that game masters have experienced and tables have experienced. And I say that now with confidence because I have received enough emails now from people that have said, listen, I've been game mastering for 20 years. I'm playing with a table of people that has been playing for 20 years, and we are having the best games we've ever had, or some of the best games we've ever had, or this adventure was the greatest adventure we've ever played. And I've gotten enough feedback in that regard that I'm starting to believe that it's a pattern and not sort of just a one-off thing. And a reason why that is first of all, I believe we try to entertain the game master first. So one of the unique things about our box sets is you will not get at the beginning of the tale 5 paragraphs that tell you everything that's going to happen over the next, 5 chapters or 7 chapters or whatever it is. We cliffhang the dungeon master, the game master. That's what we do, right? So we cliffhang the game master and give that person a little bit of an experience of adventure themselves. Then, of course, we add, 50, 60, 70 full color handout props, those kinds of things that you can show as your players progress through the adventure. A picture truly is worth 1,000 words, and you've seen our stuff, Dave, is marvelous. We add in portraits of all the non-player characters, which make it far easier for a game master to role play. And you take notes on the back. There's just a host of different things you can do with these that make it more immersive. We have magic item cards, special item cards, so that you don't have to do Post-it notes. All of our maps have 2 versions, a player's version and a game master version, so you can use Fog of War. And then, of course, our books are 2 books. They're not 1 book, and they're spiral bound. So we have the adventure itself, which is a marvelous tale. It is. And then we have the Game Master's book on the other side. And all of the encounters are in the Game Master's book, and all of the adventure is in this book. So when you have a battle, you want flipping or flopping or any of this kind of stuff that you have to do with these perfect bound books, you just run the encounter and you're done. They're level balanced. There's just a host of innovations. And that is why I think we are enjoying some of the popularity that we are enjoying.
Excellent. And so what's the new stuff coming out with the campaign?
So we do have our world book, which is already out. So that is one of that goes along with the 3 box sets. But we actually have chapter 4 and chapter 5 that are coming out, and they are marvelous. There's a big plot twist at the end of chapter 3, and there's little plot twists in the middle of chapters 1 and 2, and but man, chapter 4 and chapter 5 really turn you on your ear, in terms of what you thought was going to happen as a player, and all of a sudden it's not, right? Which is often quite marvelous, right? And then we have the continent of Verdestia, which is where this first campaign takes place. And Verdestia is in 2 parts. And so there are 2 sides of Verdestia. There is the West Verdestia lore book and the East Verdestia lore book. And the West Verdestia lore book is nearly done. Chapter 4 is nearly done. And we can ship those early along with our early stuff, probably in the January, February timeframe.
Nice. Then
we have My Pride and Joy. And this this truly is, we are making the city of Darkenhaven. And the city of Darkenhaven has been living in my life for a long time. And it is a big, wonderful, corrupt city that is part of the Republic, but the Republic is decaying, and it sits on the top of these cliffs. And down below it is a massive sea cave. And inside of that massive sea cave are the harbors and sort of the lowbrow districts of Darkenhaven. This is called the Gloomport. And our goal is to make it one of the greatest, if not the greatest, fantasy cities ever made. That is truly our goal. That's what we're trying to do. It's marvelous. It's going to be unbelievable.
I've heard rumors that there might be a interesting scuzzy little rat bar in there somewhere.
I don't see why that wouldn't happen, as long as the guy has to write the submission that as long as he does so. Yes,
before the end of December. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to have that there. I mean, I would not understand why we would not have a place called the Rat Hole. Seems very reasonable to me in the depths of the Gloomport.
I very specifically am waiting, and the Rat Hole name has a very long history, well before this website. And I went back and actually ordered the original source that it came from, because I can't seem to find my copy of it.
Okay,
and it's literally a one-off page in an old Shadowhawk from Jim Valentino.
Oh.
In one of his the original Shadowhawk miniseries. And it's a scuzzy little bar, a one-off, and you're gone. And it's just stuck. It's stuck through two theater spaces they called the tech booth when I was there, the rat hole. And it also blends in nicely because I actually spent some time in Hamelin, Germany.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Pied Piper
Yeah.
stuff
I was just thinking that, yes.
as well. So it just kind of connected really well. But I'm waiting for that piece of documentation coming through before I start braining that submission. And it's not just going to you, because people who watched the last video, that's going to hopefully a version of that may also end up in New Bristol as well. So
why not?
Exactly. Get out
I just don't
there.
want a bunch of rats wearing fezzes. It seems silly to me.
Yeah, we'll see. I got ideas. I got ideas. Not all of them are silly.
No, of course not.
But we do have, that's the URL there. Kickstarter URLs are such a pain. But it's really big, it's really long, it's easy to find. Search for GUI Cube and you'll find it. There is going to be a link on your website when I put that up. So in the credits, there's going to be the shortened, ridiculous Kickstarter URL as well as yours. So we can, if you're watching and don't want to write down the big long one, you can get it there as well. So why don't we take a look at our giveaway?
Marvelous.
So we've got digital copies of the first chapter.
Yes.
So the entire box set, but in digital form.
Yes.
Darkest Dream, correct?
Yes,
right?
my friend.
Yeah. As well as a holiday extra. What's that? Tell us briefly what your holiday adventure is.
So we are doing this thing. It's called the Strangely Gooey Holiday. So Alphinius Goo is actually, well, my real name's Kim, so I don't have a bad British accent and all that kind of stuff. And I really have been game mastering for 40 years. And Alphinius is one of the characters in the Weirded World. And there are lots of them now that are actually our folks. People, you know, I mean, Dave, I hope you'll be one time, you know. Am I jarring you by getting out of the Alphinius loop? I better jump back, okay? So Alphinius is a character in the world of Zathé. And Alphinius has a problem because Ms. Goo would like him to retrieve the Winter's Dance decorations for the tower, right? But the problem is that the Winter's Dance decorations were cursed some time back by a very frustrated, unseelie mage of some skill and capability. And so every year, said ornaments become quite malicious and come to life in the basement. And they have to be subdued in order to be brought back to their original knick-knacky state, if you want to call it that, right? And so Alphinius got tired of having to deal with this, and so he hires a group of adventurers to participate in such. And I could actually read you something if you want me to. I think it is humorous enough that that some might like it. Would you like me to do that real quick?
Do it. Let's do it.
I will do it. Let me locate it. It will take me but a moment to find it. As soon as I find it, I shall read it. All right, here we go. Are you ready, David?
I am ready.
'Twas the night before Winter's Dance, and all through the tower strange magics were stirring and crackling with power. The apprentices were working on strange incantations, whilst hoping of mastering their wizardly ministrations. While Ms. Goo in her kerchief and Alphinius with no hat had just settled down to enjoy a light snack, when down in the basement there arose such a roar that Alphinius jumped and spilled beer on the floor. "It's the Winter's Dance decor," the wizard yelled with a curse, "and every damn annum, they're a pain in my arse." He then leaned toward his wife and whispered in her ear, "Ms. Goo, can we please not put them up this year? Let them stay in the basement and leave us be free of the pudding and Nogman and the cursed E-elves a three." But Ms. Goo gave him a look, and the old wizard sighed. "Yes, my dear, I will get them," which was a bit of a lie. Then he walked from the room, muttering under his breath, 'Tis adventurers I need for this dark basement quest. So we posted a flyer with reward and some rules, and soon it was answered by a group of damn fools. Ha ha!
Brilliant. I love it. It's going to be amazing.
Well, this begins a strangely gooey holiday, my friend.
Yes. Perfect time of year for it. Strangely
well,
convenient.
I'm going to do my best to get it out, but there's a bunch of illustrations we're trying to do, so we're battling it as best as we can and writing it and trying to see what we can do. But I probably could include that as a little bonus in this giveaway for whomever wins, or we can give it as a second giveaway, whichever you would prefer.
We'll throw it in here for now, because we do have our winner ready, and it's going to be, drum roll please, Luke J. Venables from Brisbane, Australia.
Aha!
who follows us on Twitter. So congratulations, Luke. I will be in touch shortly, and we will connect you and the great Gooey Cube people to get you those prizes. Congratulations.
Yeah. Marvelous. Congratulations, Luke.
Congratulations. So yeah, it's, for the record, you're not at 500. You are at 1,125 people in the den, in the group. So
1,125. 500 in the Discord. And 500 470 in the Discord, 500 in the Contributors Guild. So it's I mean, Dave, I think when we met, I think there was 300 in the Gooey Den, maybe. Something like that, 400 in the Gooey Den, 300. It was not big, you know. And I do believe it is the movement that we are doing that is creating sort of this collaborative world, and I do think that that is resonating. The opportunity to be able to be a part of it, the opportunity to speak into it a little bit, is exciting for people, and I love it. You know, it's just wonderful. You know. So we'll see how the Kickstarter continues. You know, we only got 5 days or so left, 6 days left. So this is the big end push. But we have some marvelous stuff and some incredible stretch goals and some things to unlock and some add-ons and a Gooey dice set that has got a Kickstarter exclusive component to it, and 3 or 4 adventures that are add-ons. And I mean, there's a lot of really wonderful things.
Excellent. So what is there anything else besides, you know, the books in general and the campaign that you want to kind of plug, or just go campaign, go to the Kickstarter, you'll see everything?
Yeah, I think that's the right move. I do, you know, I tell you, if you're a game master out there and you want a little easier life, because, you know, us game masters, we work hard. I mean, we do. And if you would like a little easier life, to not have to spend quite so much time prepping, and prepping is really the wrong word, but the creation of props and the creation of all these accoutrements that we try to put in to try to make the game better for our players. If you would like that to be a little lessened in your life, and if you would like to maybe be entertained a little bit yourself in reviewing an adventure rather than sort of reading an instruction manual, and if you'd like something that you really could just prep it up and not have to add a whole lot to and not have to spend a lot of extra time working, I think you would be blown away by our adventures. And then if you are a creator, if you are a person who loves to write and create things, and you would love to see something of your own creation in publication as canon, and it's something you would desire, you are most welcome to come join us and join our Contributors Guild and be a part of this. I think we are going to continue to grow, Dave. I think we're going to continue to have success. I think we have the right mindset. I think we have the right group of people, and I think Xayathe is fresh and interesting and intriguing to folks. So I'm very excited to see how this unfolds over the next year or two, and I'm excited to come back with you again to talk about it in the future. You know, you were such a marvelous joy to us, and Mike and I talked about you, you know, for days after the convention. You know how fun you were. So I think one of it was the knot on Mike's head from the dice. I think this
it's not my fault he's such a good target. I'm going to roll for damage. What I do?
Such a good time. It was marvelous.
It was a great deal of fun, and as was today. So I really thank you so much for joining me here and telling us a little bit about everything. It's been fabulous.
No, thank you, Dave, so much, and to all your crew. I know you got people who are working hard to, make all this stuff work, and we really appreciate being here with you and being able to chat a little bit, and look forward to the next time.
Yes, as do I. So again, thank you, Elphinius, for joining us up. A few, all the little housekeeping bits. Thank you, Gooey Cube and Elphinius, for that giveaway sponsoring for us. Calgary Clown Society has generously allowed us to use their StreamYard software to broadcast this out. That's what you're watching this on, as well as Geekorama.net, who allows us to co-broadcast on their page. Super huge thank you to the 427s, whose music you see at the beginning and end of all of this. As well, please definitely follow us on all of our social media. We've set up a Linktree account, so it's a little bit easier to find everything. So Linktree, linktr.ee/therathole.ca. Right now, it's still directing to all of the entries. That'll be changed within the hour, and just going to our accounts in general. So please, follow us. There's nothing. It costs you nothing, and it does infinite amounts of good things for us. And speaking of good things, I just want to take 3 more seconds of your time. It's Christmas. Very obvious that it is Christmas. And as we said, it's 2020, and 2020 has been what it is. It's been a super hard year for a lot of people, and people who can help, I implore you to help. Coming up, there is CP Rail, Canadian Pacific Rail, has their annual holiday train that's had to move virtually. So instead of going into communities and raising funds and food bank donations, they're doing everything virtually. So check them out. You can actually there's a link to that in my Christmas Express game review. TheRatHole.ca/Christmas has all of our Christmas reviews. As well, when I was on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, I showed off the old I think it's very early 90s commercial for 630 Ched Santa's Anonymous. That commercial is a beautiful story, and it's always a Christmas thing for me to make sure I get that. But they do good work. No matter what community you're in, there's going to be some kind of a Christmas charity specifically, and just your food banks, your people that need help. Because there's more than usual this year. There's always someone who needs help, and this year someone who maybe didn't last year will need it this year. And maybe next year they'll be able to give back. And if you can't give something, give some time. But other than that, again, thank you again to Elphinius for showing up. Thank you for you guys for showing up and watching and putting up with my blah, blah, blah. Until next time, good gaming and goodbye.